Hello, my dear friends. I'm Father Diego. Happy Friday. This is the message of the gospel for today, Friday, February the 14th. Happy Valentine's Day as well. We listen today from the Gospel of Mark, the last verses of this chapter 7, verses 31st to 37. Again, Jesus left the district of Tyre and went by the way of Sidon to the Sea of Galilee, into the district of the Decapolis. And people brought to him a deaf man who had a speech impediment, and begged him to lay his hands on him. He took him off by himself away from the crowd. He put his finger into the man's ears and, spitting, touched his tongue. Then he looked up to heaven and groaned, and said to him, Ephphatha, that is, be opened. And immediately the man's ears were opened, his speech impediment was removed, and he spoke plainly. He ordered them not to tell anyone, but the more he ordered them not to, the more they proclaimed it. They were exceedingly astonished, and they said, He has done all things well. He makes the deaf hear, and the mute speak. There are three elements that I want to highlight on this gospel. First of all, a Christological element. Jesus is moving around the pagan territory. He's going to the Decapolis, which is not Jewish territory. And again, as I said yesterday, this action of Jesus going outside the Jewish territory is sending a message to his followers. The proclamation of the good news of salvation, the proclamation of the gospel, is not confined to this particular territory or is not directed only to a particular group, but is open to everyone who is in need of God's compassion and salvation. Is open to all those who welcome and are open to receive the message of Jesus. That's the first element. The second element is kind of Christological as well, but is specifically the messianic secret. It is interesting that Jesus asked the people not to tell anyone what he has done. Every time that he's doing a healing or a miracle, he asks people, don't tell anyone about this. Why? Seems like contradictory, right? But the intention of the Gospel of Mark is to see, to learn, and to meditate on Jesus's actions, and not to make a kind of incomplete judgment about Jesus. Why? Because if we don't stick with the gospel until the very end and we miss the crucifixion and Jesus' resurrection, we might have an incomplete image of Jesus, as he will be a wonderful guy, a wonderful spiritual guide, a healer, a maker of wonders, but not the Savior. And we have to go through the mystery of his crucifixion and resurrection to understand, to have a full comprehension of Jesus as the Son of God, as Savior and Messiah. So what Jesus is doing is kind of saying to the people, stick with me, stay with me until the very end of my story, and then you can see what is this power about, what is the power of this healing, the healings and powerful words that I proclaim, and so on and so on. So let's gonna stay with Jesus, with the gospel, with the story of the gospel till the very end, and to go through his crucifixion and resurrection. And the third element is the spiritual meaning of this healing, the healing of deafness and muteness. This particular illness points out the incapacity of a person who is unable to being in a community, to interact with others, as this person is unable to speak and to listen, right? And I think one of the current human tragedies in this world is the incapacity of many people to raise their voices and to express themselves, or and the incapacity, the inability of many of us to listen to others in a loving, sympathetic way, to understand other people, right? And I think the message of the gospel, the proclamation of this gospel, is restoring in all of us our humanity in its fullness, meaning giving us the capacity to be in communication, in interaction with others, as we can talk to others, as we can raise our voices, as we can express ourselves, but also as we can listen to others, as we can give our ears to the needs of others. Human beings in its fullness, the humanity, this capacity of communication. A wonderful and interesting gospel to end this week. And I wish you a wonderful Friday, a wonderful weekend, a good cup of coffee, and I'll see you on Monday with the message of the gospel. God bless you all. Bye now.